Fender sent me this Paranormal Offset Telecaster over 5 months ago. I featured it in some videos. A lot of people have had questions, and I thought that this would be a good time to make a kind of follow-up video because now I have gigging experience with this guitar under my belt, so I can give you a little bit more relevant feedback if you're somebody who's looking at one of these things and you want to take it out to play some shows with. I also want to go over some of the parts that I did change, why I changed them, and things that you should just keep in mind if you're checking out one of these guitars. Now, I get a lot of people are skeptical when it comes to people on YouTube these days. It seems like everything's a gigantic ad. But I promise, Fender did not ask me to make this video. They don't know I'm making this video, and all of the replacement parts that I used on this guitar that I'm going to tell you about are not from the Fender brand, so make of it what you will. However, the truth of the matter is, if you do love the charcoal frost metallic finish, it is only available at Fender.com. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check that out. So now I want to start off by talking about the 3 mods I made on this guitar and why I made them. The first thing that I did was switch the saddles out. The reason for that is because these are Callaham compensated brass saddles. I prefer brass saddles on any kind of tele style bridge, but also it allows for more accurate intonation. I love these things. They're going to run you about 50 bucks. You can make do with the stock ones just fine. It's just, especially once you start playing a little bit higher up the neck, and I found myself doing that a little bit more. You do notice it, and it's a little bit more accurate using these ones. The only other piece of hardware that I swapped on this guitar were the tuners. As you can see, this is now an empty box of Gotoh SD91s. The stock tuners were fine. That's the best way I can describe them. They just felt really loose. I wasn't able to be as precise with the tuning as some of my other guitars that have higher end tuners on them, and these are some of my favorite ones in the whole world. Gotoh just makes such high quality hardware, and it was a definite worthwhile upgrade. The final mod I did is the one that I'm going to recommend the most, and it's also the least expensive of the 3 of them, so that's really good news if you do pick up one of these guitars, and that was to add a neck shim. The reason why is because I was able to get the action as is from the factory in a really good spot after adjusting the truss rod and then the bridge saddles themselves from around the 9th fret all the way to the 1st fret. However, what would happen was, because the neck angle was just not as high up towards these lower ones, the action suffered because of it. So I wasn't having as even as a playing experience as I would personally like, especially with a guitar that has a 9.5-inch radius on it. Adding in a neck shim made a night and day difference in the overall playability of the guitar without any negative impacts whatsoever. I ended up using a 1-degree shim from StewMac, and I can't recommend it enough. Those are the only mods I've done on this guitar, and honestly, I'm happy with it as is, but you could even argue that maybe the tuners were not completely necessary, since I was able to play my first few gigs with this instrument with the original stock tuners, and it wasn't wildly going out of tune, but just personal preference. I love the Gotohs, and it wasn't all that expensive, so I decided, you know what, I like this guitar, I think it deserves the upgrade. Now, even though I haven't changed the pickups on this guitar, because I love having the Jazzmaster pickup in the neck and the Tele Bridge pickup combination, I think it's just such a unique sound, especially in the middle position. That's where this guitar absolutely shines, in my opinion. There is one thing that I have noticed, and I'm going to kind of give you a way around it. It's the fact that these 2 pickups are going to a 250K pot. I come from a traditional Fender Jazzmaster where the neck pickup and the bridge pickup actually are going to a 1 meg volume pot. So by default here, this is always going to sound a little bit darker to my ears. The way that I mitigate this, especially playing live, was I just bump the treble up a little bit on the amplifier, and then kind of the problem that you might think to yourself, oh, well, what about the bridge pickup? It can be a little bit ice picky. The tone control from the factory actually works well enough so that when I do swap over to the bridge, I just roll it off ever so slightly, and it takes the shrillness off of it. It's just something that it's easier to take away kind of high end from a guitar than it is to grant it to it, and the easiest way to grant it to it is by either switching pot values, which I haven't felt the need to because the Tele Bridge pickup would sound terrible in my opinion with a 1 meg pot, and it's easy to just alter your amp settings a little bit, or if you're using an EQ pedal, that's another way you go about doing it. But the biggest reason why I enjoy gigging with this guitar, outside of the obvious necessary things of being stable and holding tune well, is the fact that it gives me the offset body that I'm used to, because I just love the shape, I love the feel of it, but it takes so much of the weight off compared to a regular Jazzmaster or Jaguar. This weighs just over 7 pounds, and I know that weight's going to vary, especially when you're buying sight unseen on instruments. However, there's not much to this guitar, so I can't imagine it's going to vary all that much. Being able to play for hours at a time and constantly be able to have energy on stage, move around, not have my neck or my back start to feel sore after I'm done gigging are all very welcome things, and it really just makes me a little bit more energetic when I play. The one thing you should take into consideration if you're planning on getting one of these guitars to gig with is to remember that it does not come with a gig bag or a hard shell case. So you're going to have to pony up a few dollars for one of those. And when you are looking for one, just make sure that it's one that's going to hold a Jazzmaster or a Jaguar, because it's not going to fit into a Tele or a Strat case. And just to wrap today's video up here, I would absolutely recommend this guitar if you're looking for something that's a little bit different. Obviously, this is an eye-catching instrument, and I love the charcoal frost finish on it. It gives you huge rock sounds from the bridge pickup. I love the way it cuts through in a mix. And if you want to do like some shoegazy or effect stuff, definitely stick to the middle position. It sounds crystal clear with that. But overall, I mean, everything's getting so expensive these days. Something like this really is a great value. If you want to find out more, or you specifically want to check this thing out in the charcoal frost metallic, head to the link in the description. That will bring you to Fender.com. But outside of that, I appreciate you for spending some time with me today. Any questions, comments, or concerns for me, you can leave them in the comments section down below, and I will do my best to address them in a time-appropriate manner. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Take care.